Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Brony Debates on this late Sunday night. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend. We've had a very busy weekend. Heather, what did we do on Friday?
Friday was Friday the 13th, so we were watching the heck out of Friday the 13th and eating chicken pizza and all of that.
Yes. And then yesterday was super busy as well. We woke up and the first thing we did was a 5K, and then I took a little bit of time to dry off after I, sweat so badly and performed so horribly at that 5K. Then I had to go down and do some karate training, and then I had to come back and spent the rest of the day, well, pretty much vegging out because I got so very little sleep. And then I cleaned the house while you were streaming. And now we're, today I've been messing around with, trying to get my business off the ground. And now we're here. So, I hope everybody else had a wonderful day out there. Tell us a little bit about your, weekend that you guys have had in the audience while I read off the patron slide here, because we are very grateful to everybody who contributes financially to support the channel, especially those on the $10 and up tier on Patreon, such as Heather, who is with me. There's also Shady Oak, Autoknight, Emerald, Senko, DJ, Rain, Billy, Alden, Kanto, Mr. Sonic, Alicia, Calbeck, StarChaser, VentureCorp, Willyzin, Icanus, Vulpecula, Raptor's Talon, Jimmy, J Yoshi, and Dark Malcontent. A bunch of those guys make some really good links you can check out in the description. You can also see how you can support the channel and what you get in return if you're enjoying the show. You can... wait, I actually don't have Heather's Poggers link in my description. I should fix that at some point in time. But you can tune into her channel for that. And I know a bunch of you out there, I'm seeing the chat right now. Hello, Gojillion, Trent, Paladin, Yoshi, Crystal, Nathan. I hope you guys are doing well. I see you guys all the time, though, so you know where to find this stuff. Anyway, what are we talking about tonight, Heather?
Well, I believe I sent you more posts from r/mylittlepony that have very many topics we can discuss.
Indeed, indeed. Have you sent me any more recently? Let me double check your messages. But
if not, I have a whole bunch of stuff tabbed.
Yeah, we had a what was it? We had left off on one, like back last week, and we're gonna pick up from there right after I, subject the chat to the torture that you showed me the other day, which was this. And that is the, wait, I'm not streaming to the Discord here. Let me fix that real quick. Almost thought of everything. Tell me, Heather, why did you do this to me? Why do you torture me like this?
Because if I gotta see that, so do you. Also, asks the question of why is she wearing a gold chain with a watch attached to it?
That's not a watch.
Oh, I guess that's a ring, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is the worst Photoshop I've ever seen.
It's certainly up there. They at least, erased the necklace, around where the mane would be.
Yes.
But yeah, Rainbow Dash shipped with Indominus Rex. You hate to see it. So let me head back over here. And we'll, there we go. Equestria has elections for its new ruler. Who are you voting for? Now remember, guys, if you are interested in joining the conversation, you are welcome to do so. You click the link, the Discord link at the top of the description there, and it takes you into a free server called The Waiting Room, where you raise your hand and tell us what you want to talk about. And if we find you interesting, we can pull you into the voice chat and you can give it and you can, tell us your thoughts. But anyway, Equestria has elections for the new ruler. who are you voting for? And I'm guessing this person's going to vote for Nightmare Moon like an absolute. Unless are these supposed to be
these
our
are the
options? Okay, so our options:
these are the options.
Nightmare Moon, Discord, Fluttershy, Chrysalis, Thorax, Big Macintosh, Angel Bunny, and Boulder.
I don't know. Boulder's going to be tough competition to beat, but I think most people would vote for Fluttershy. But I wager, guys, why would you vote for Fluttershy when you can vote for Thorax? Because if you think about it, Thorax has more experience being a leader than Fluttershy does. He's leading the changelings rather successfully and probably values a lot of the same things she does. So, guys, I would tell you, vote for Thorax.
I concur. There's no debate here. Thorax is the only one that actually, and he even before he went through his arc with Pharynx, he was doing a halfway decent job. They turned into wimps under his watch, but then he sort of, Pharynx led them back into being able to function and defend themselves, and Thorax got through that, and yeah, the changelings are actually doing pretty good for themselves these days.
Now, I will say we should go over these options because I guess it's what you want out of society. A lot of people would say they wouldn't want Fluttershy or Thorax because they are kind of soft-boiled. We could see Thorax can stand up for himself, but they wouldn't take like a hard fist towards serious topics, which we could probably expect Nightmare Moon to do. Nightmare Moon, we saw, could run a society, a kingdom, on her own rather successfully, as we saw in the alternate universe where she does rule as opposed to Celestia. Like, she does seem to have things in order and can handle like things like the Everfree Forest being wild. I mean, Rainbow Dash is a member of her guard, and Rainbow Dash, I don't think, would do that. She was even showing some serious loyalty to Nightmare Moon when she says, like, hey, when the princess asks you a question, you answer it. How she got that loyalty from Rainbow Dash is something that I think carries a lot of weight. Like, I don't think much of Rainbow Dash, but loyalty is her element, and she doesn't just give it to anybody. So I want to know what Nightmare Moon did to earn that kind of respect.
Total headcanon here, but if Rainbow Dash had nothing else to give her loyalty to, she would give it to, whoever was in a leadership position.
You might be right, because why was she like a member of the Royal Guard here as opposed to being a member of the Wonderbolts or the Shadow Bolts here? This is also going into headcanon, but like, I don't see a reason Nightmare Moon would disband the Wonderbolts or just not convert them, being like, hey, you're the Shadow Bolts now.
Okay. So what would it be like under Discord's rule? I think
it would be exactly the way it was. Yeah. When he ruled 1,000 years ago. It would be this. If you're into that, Pinkie Pie might be down. She would just be like, hey, where the fuck's the whipped cream with this chocolate milk, you dick? And that'd be about it. Well, so I think we're all pretty much downvoting freaking Discord.
Yeah, now, Discord would raise the questions of if there's an election, would it even matter? Because he could, like, reality warp all of the votes to be for him.
If he's convinced, I don't think he's above cheating, but if he thought he could win, he would roll out, and when you reveal he doesn't win, he would be such a pouty little bastard about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it would be Clinton 2016 all over again.
Like, the only reason Fluttershy, I don't think she wants to rule. I don't think she'd be bad at it, because we've seen that she's good at a lot of things she wouldn't necessarily... Like, being a teacher, for one. That I don't imagine that's something Fluttershy ever really considered doing, but apparently she's so good at it, she wins Best Teacher nearly every month.
Well,
So I think that could translate a little bit.
I don't, but I accidentally cut you off. You were saying something about Discord. And,
I was going to say, and it kind of melts into what I was going to say about Fluttershy. It's like, the only way Discord would honor the fact that he lost an election is if Fluttershy was there to be like, hey, no, take it fairly. And at that same time, that's like it wouldn't even be like Discord being a fair person. It would be Fluttershy being a fair person, which is why she would make a better ruler than him. And I bet, like, if it was an election between the two, that's the only way he would accept the defeat. He's like, well, of course they voted for Fluttershy. She's the best.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty. I could buy that headcanon. Fluttershy is not a good teacher. She's not a good leader. She's never really been in a leadership position that I can remember off the top of my head. She's spent 3/4 of the entire series just learning to stand on her own 2 or 4 feet or whatever, have you. She does not have the spine to make really hard decisions that's going to affect people's lives. She's not going to be able to, make a call for conflict or for defense. I don't think she has the organizational skills outside of taking care of animals. Like, I don't think she can apply her talent for taking care of animals very far outside of taking care of animals. So
I would say that, I agree with you that she wouldn't be my ideal leader, but I think she could do it. I would direct to the episode where she was trying to put together her nature reserve, and she was being a pretty clear communicator with what she wanted in those moments where she was delegating. People were just stupid and didn't freaking listen, and she did handle it rather well when she had to tell them, like, hey, lead, you didn't listen to me, and knew where to delegate from there to help achieve an objective when the initial people she was working with didn't pan out.
But that just goes into what I was saying about it. She's only really capable of standing up for herself. If you scale that,
to others, I think she'd be better in that regard.
If you scale that up, it's not going to apply the same way.
I'm not sure about that. She's done a lot, and especially if it's not for herself, but for the sake of others, I kind of have more faith in her. Like I said, I don't think she'd be the best ruler, but I think she'd be adequate.
Well, she'd be better than Discord. And we know that much.
Yes. Also, I was going to ask, what do you mean she's a bad teacher? She keeps winning the best teacher contest. Of course she's good at being a teacher.
I do believe in that episode they said it was just because she didn't give homework, and the students kept voting for her on that.
Oh, well, that's a good thing.
Or that her classes were super easy. Well, the point is her classes were super easy, and she didn't really ask anything of the students. The students are not learning anything under Fluttershy.
I think that's a load of crap, Brawny. I think we need to go to Fluttershy's freaking class and learn about this, because honestly, that sounds good. A freaking good teacher doesn't have a hard as fuck course. I mean, there are difficult topics, but she's teaching fucking kindness. Like, if they're saying, like, yeah, I learned kindness so well in class that it's an easy course, that's a good thing. Not giving homework is fucking awesome. Of course, she's the best teacher. She's the teacher you want to have. I think she's doing just fine.
What was the name of that episode where
I don't remember it, actually.
Where Rainbow Dash and Applejack were fighting for Teacher of the Month?
I can't remember what it's called.
I'm gonna find it. They're all on YouTube now, thank God, so this is gonna make it easy. Let's see here. Mod Couple, Fake It Till You Make It, Granny's Gone Wild, Surf Turf, Horseplay, Parent Map, Non-compete clause. God, I tried to block this one out from my memory. Let me tune it back in here. And I do believe at some point in time they say why Fluttershy keeps winning. Teacher of the month is
Fluttershy. Again? Come on! Oh my! I don't know how I keep winning. Yeah, me neither. The award is based on the students' vote. They must really like you.
With the red eyes and everything, you'd think she'd see it coming after 8 months.
I'm just saying, like, if someone got in my face with the camera, it doesn't matter. I'm not getting used to that shit. I do wish they got a little more creative with those pictures, because it's just the same one over and over again.
Yeah.
Outdoor activity reinforces learn to about.
I'm just trying to find where they were talking about. I vaguely remember, but I'm not going to sit here and watch the whole episode all night. Somebody said something about Fluttershy's classes being super easy, or her not giving homework or something like that, and that's why they always vote for her. They're not learning anything under her. She's just, babysitting them for, I don't know, 80 minutes. That's how long my classes were in high school.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think frickin' Fluttershy... Like, do you remember when the class first happened and she was having them meet a fucking bear and spiders and shit? There's no way she's not bringing in animals and teaching them things about how, like, showing an animal kindness is great. That's probably also why they like her class. That's one thing she probably has over everyone else's class, is there's pets in it. Kids, students, they love animals, they love pets. She probably brings in rabbits and frickin' chipmunks every day. People love that shit.
Okay, so let me ask this question. Do we have a solid example of when Fluttershy needed to mediate between two people with opposing goals, each of equal validity?
I feel like she freaking does a lot of mediation anytime Discord is in the freaking thing. And really,
yeah, but Discord's a piece of trash. And Discord's always in the wrong. I'm asking two people.
But she always manages.
Two people that are in the right, in their own way, right? But we can only take care of one or the other. You take care of one, you're gonna screw over the other. How does Fluttershy make that decision? Do we have any examples of something like that?
The closest I can think of is how, like, compromising she was with the nature reserve of making it a safe place. So, like, when a prey animal didn't want to be eaten, she gave the frickin', I don't know, the snake fucking vegan cookies. And that worked out just fine. I believe the rule
Are you
was,
trying to summon Sweetie Bloom? That's not a good example. That was like...
It was I don't like to debate with her on it, but, like... I would say, I'm pretty sure Fluttershy stated, like, while you're in the nature reserve, you can't do that, so eat these vegan cookies instead. She didn't say, hey, this is all you can eat. She just said, while you're in the nature reserve, you can't do that, so eat these cookies instead. That implies to me that, like, the nature reserve isn't someplace they have to live 24/7, that they could be leaving the nature reserve to do regular animal things. She's just making the nature reserve as a safe space for all critters, so that probably, like, that freaking implies, hey, no hunting in here. This is a safe space. This is, like, for critters that probably need more help, or a vacation spot for the critters. She just has, like, a safeguard in place. It's like, I know you're hungry, so eat these cookies because I can't have you hunting the prey animals while you're here.
I don't think she can handle the complexities of leadership. Queen Chrysalis, as we know...
She was not running her kingdom very well.
No,
because,
she was
look
not.
What happened to it.
Yeah, she's like an incompetent Genghis Khan. We already talked about Thorax. Big Mac is another one. I don't think he can handle much outside of farming.
Yeah, and even then, he's not like the freaking the brains behind the operation there.
Yeah, and I don't think Equestria, like, has a problem with farming. Not like a lot of, countries on Earth where for some reason farmers are looked down on even though they're freaking literally feeding everybody. I'll never understand that, or seen as stupid when there are so much, like, you gotta have doctor levels of knowledge in order to be able to effectively run a farm and, feed everybody in your area or beyond.
They take it for granted. They really do.
Yeah, so I don't think Equestria has that problem. So I don't think, like Big Mac as a leader in, like, America would do very well, because he would be able to, mediate everything farming related and make it better, which would have cascading effects on pretty much everything. But Equestria doesn't seem to have that problem, so I don't think he would really be able to run effectively. Let's see here. Angel
Bunny sucks. Angel Bunny, down with Angel Bunny. He's a dictator.
He is a dictator. Is he worse than Nightmare Moon?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, look how he reacted when he didn't get a freaking salad sundae. If Fluttershy wasn't there to rein him in, he'd wreak havoc.
Boulder
would make such a freaking make such a solid foundation for a nation. Is all I'm saying. You know,
Boulder is the cornerstone.
He is a solid pick.
I think we're pretty settled here on Thorax. Let's
yes, President Thorax.
Let's see what the chat says real quick. Let's see here. J. Yoshi says, I don't think Discord would be willing to run against Fluttershy. Gojillion says, Nightmare Moon and Chrysalis are too tyrannical for my tastes. My mother just tried to call me. She picked a horrible time. I'll have to call her. I'll have to call her real quick after the show. Let's see here. How do you give homework for kindness anyway, without the goal of getting a good grade, undermining the whole point of kindness?
Yeah, exactly. You shouldn't have a freaking class for, like, a freaking homework for that kind of class. Like, what kind of homework is freaking Applejack giving? Or Rarity is, like, I guess Rarity could be like, go do a generous act today. Go do something nice for somebody. I don't know.
We've certainly had assignments like that in, like, elementary and middle school, where they send you off and you gotta, like, write down what you did and, you know, make it convincing. You and I both know that. Yeah, you and I both know that half the people that even bothered to write anything in something like that, in an assignment like that, just made it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder, what kind of fucking homework is Rainbow Dash giving? You think Rainbow Dash would be like, I'm not an egghead again, I'm not going to give you homework. Of all people, she's the one not giving homework.
None of the main 6 are good teachers. Like, the closest one that we have to even having a capacity for teaching is Twilight.
Yeah, and even then it depends, like, especially such, like, abstract concepts. Like, Rarity could teach you how to sew, teach you how to do things, or dress in style. Teaching the freaking concept of generosity is kind of strange.
Indeed. Well, and I could see how, like, being stylish could, you know, play into friendship, because if you show up to the function, you know, in a Hawaiian shirt and Crocs and cargo shorts and a fedora, nobody's going to want to talk to you. But if you, show up in, like, cargo pants with a nice belt, collared shirt, well groomed, you shaved today, you used soap at some point in time in the last couple of days, you're, you'll blend right into most crowds and be able to talk and have a normal conversation. Let's see here. Let's see what the thread has to say. Boulder is a rock-solid candidate with a firm platform. He's sure to win by a landslide.
One for Boulder.
Who in their right mind would ever let Angel in any position of power? That rabbit is a lunatic. Nightmare Moon, Chrysalis, and Discord, albeit unintentionally, would probably make life miserable for everyone. Fluttershy and Big Mac just aren't cut out for it. Angel would definitely do something crazy like enslaving everyone so he can be fed an infinite supply of carrots. Boulder would do nothing. I guess the obvious choice is Thor. This guy is right in line with what I was thinking.
Of everything like we just went through. I still am curious. I think Nightmare Moon might have done a good enough job. Her problem was just vanity. I had to freaking overthrow somebody just because I didn't like them, and I just basically run the country as it was before, just without the other person.
Well,
whatever. Celestia did that, and it was fine.
That was like the middle point of, like, things getting worse, because that was what Twilight said in that episode. Every time the past changes, the future gets worse. And about halfway through, we get the Nightmare Moon timeline, but we never really got to understand why it was so bad, or outside of, like, I think they said something about Eternal Light and something about the Everfree Forest just completely overgrowing everything. So we'll see.
That's probably why, that would probably be why so many ponies turn to joining the Royal Guard, to learn more self-defense and keep their homes a little more safe. If there's more guards, there's more places, like, you can afford to put them in more places.
Alrighty then.
Oddly enough, this is getting me to be in the mood to read some fan fiction about, like, potentially what Nightmare Moon's kingdom was like.
Realistically speaking, Thorax seems to be one of the best rulers available here. Unrealistically, I'm voting for Fluttershy just because I like her. Simp! Who's the prettiest character in the show? It's me. I'm the prettiest. Moving on. Okay, what's the worst thing Twilight has ever done per season, movie included? So, Heather, what do you think is the worst thing Twilight has ever done?
The worst thing Twilight might have done was make a friendship school and force all her friends to change their career paths.
Oh, gosh darn it, you stole my answer.
Come on, I would think, like, if Spencer tomorrow, like, came out of a school out of his ass, is like, okay, guys, I need you to be teachers. And I'm like, I have a 9-to-5 job, man. I can't, what do you want me to do? Teach in the afternoons? Like, if one of our friends came out of nowhere, was just like, hey, I need you to work at my small business and fuck whatever you're doing, and I would just be like, what the shit, man? I can't do that.
Out of everybody we know, it would be me that would be most likely to pull something like that. And I would still never pull something like that.
I would still not do it.
Gajillion says, worst thing Twilight's done was appointing Rainbow Dash to teach a cheerleading class is one of them.
That's funny. I mean, I could see how she thought Rainbow Dash might have been a good pick for that. It was just like, hey, because, like, I think their, like, hoofball team was pretty good already, and they were just like, hey, you know, the department that really needs help is the cheerleaders, you know, helping them do their thing.
Yeah. Let's see here. This comment here, putting everyone under a spell for Smarty Pants in Lesson 0. Right? That reminded me that she did a lot of, like, I guess ultimately little things that, you know, made the episode in the early seasons 1 through 3. Like, when you know, this one is pretty significant. You put the spell on the whole town where everybody, or not you put the spell on the doll and everybody who looks at the doll wants to, you know, goes crazy for the doll and starts fighting each other for it. Season 1, we had Winter Wrap-Up where she broke a whole bunch of stuff using magic when she wasn't supposed to. Let's see here. So yeah, there's that. You know what? One of the worst things she ever did, because it was totally malicious, was
What's that?
She tried to steal the pearl from the sea ponies.
That was not totally malicious. That was desperation. I'm not going to say that was the worst thing ever. I think another worst thing ever that I think people thought was very fair was that I love Canterlot Wedding, but I will admit, like, Twilight's freaking handling of the situation before she could prove that Cadence was not who she said she was utterly, like, shitty. Like, no, you don't just freaking go to rehearsals and be like, you're evil! I don't know the logical reason why things are happening that's happening, but I'm gonna handle this in the least tactful way possible with absolutely no proof that anything is amiss.
Yeah.
Nothing tangible anyway. Her handling of that was really, really bad.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Yeah, this guy says the pearl as well. So I think that's, like, I understand she was desperate, but she had never stolen something before.
Well, you know, all of your society going to shit, and everyone you know and love being in danger might do that.
Mm-hmm. And then she yelled at Pinky about it. You know, like
yeah. It only could have been worse if she yelled at Fluttershy about it.
Fluttershy didn't do anything. Pinky was the only one that, like, actually called her out. Like, Twilight, what the frick? You know, we had this under control, and all you had to do was not that. not the only thing that could have, ruined our relationship with the only people that could help us right now. And you just couldn't wait for 5 minutes? And then Twilight snaps back at her like, like Pinky's the jerk here.
Absolutely, like, freaking the gall. Huh.
Yeah. Let's see here. Lying to Celestia about how her acting was because Celestia expects Twilight to learn by now not to lie, and you can tell she feels really hurt by it. It was such a great episode. I have a whole lot of trouble buying that Celestia can't act. 1,000 years of putting on a face for politicians. You telling me she can't act? Something isn't right here.
I would say, like, acting from day to day is different than when someone puts you on a stage. I could buy it. I mean, it was just really funny. It was really funny to me.
Gojillion says, fueling up Starlight's paranoia about meddling with Celestia and Luna's cutie marks. Well, we know that Twilight would not have been able to handle that situation, and Starlight got frickin' lucky.
He really did. I fucking can't express that enough. And when people are like, oh, but it was the right thing to do, and I'm like, we absolutely did not have to do that to get what we wanted.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Remember when she thought she's in some kind of doomsday trouble because her Metal Gear future self tried to warn her about something? It's not exactly something bad she did to someone, but it's worth an honorable mention. Okay, so this is an interesting one because...
Well, that only hurt her.
Well, ultimately it only hurt her, right? And if anything, because she went through all that, like Ponyville underwent a whole bunch of preventative maintenance that was clearly overdue and probably prevented a lot of disasters because she was freaking out about that. But then, when all the signs are lining up, oh shoot, I'm gonna become future Twilight, what's her solution? Stop time. The frick?
I don't know if that was a measured response.
It was not. It's like,
measured responses were kind of something Twilight had to work on a lot in this series, wasn't it?
Yeah, like the whole time, too.
She freaks out so much.
So, yeah, stop time. We're not even gonna try to see what happens. It can't happen if there's no linear progression of time.
You know what, something, Brawny, might be controversial for you, but I think most of the main six was so bad at stress management. I think the person who was the best at it was fucking Rarity. Now, hear me out here. Twilight freaks out and tries to stop time. Applejack works herself to death until she's sleeping at the bottom of a fucking pit and is very stubborn. Freaking Fluttershy, closes in on herself and hides under a couch. Pinkie Pie falls into depression. And, who else have I mentioned? Freaking got a
Rainbow Dash.
Rainbow Dash fucking almost killed everybody by trying to make sure winter didn't come. That was not a measured response. Rarity has never done anything like that. Whenever something bad happens to her, she takes out her fainting couch, eats a whole bunch of ice cream, has a good cry, and then moves on from that. Or when she has to work a lot, her hair gets a little frazzled. But yeah, she is the best at stress management. Because say what you will about ice cream binges, they don't fucking hurt anyone else.
Yeah, and then she I'll give you that, Heather. She goes through it, she processes it, she's got her system, and then she, when it clears her head, and then she can focus on solving the problem.
Yeah, the only one time she endangered Equestria from a freakout is when Spike gave her a book that corrupted her mind. That was the only time.
Yep. Constance Morrow says, hey, hello, Constance. And Rusty is calling you a Rarity simp.
I mean, you're not wrong, but, I will say, is it not worth the drama? Freaking look at her.
Mm-hmm.
I think, man, we really like just went for this topic. It's already like more than halfway through this stream.
Yeah. Well, we spent most of it on. We spent the most amount of time on the election, but let's tackle one more comment here. Icy
the
Dreamy.
Only election that matters.
Yeah. Nearly went into the Everfree Forest alone to find the elements and turned down Moondancer's party, which led to some repercussions in Season 5. I don't think that that's bad. I think she had other things to worry about.
I think Moondancer had an unhealthy, almost parasocial relationship with Twilight. She obviously thought her friendship with Twilight was deeper than what it was. And she had a support group of other friends who she ignored because one of them, like, freaking slighted her.
Yeah. We already went over the Want It Needed spell. Came super close to ruining everybody's... she didn't do that on purpose, though. Like, yeah, it was a little... That was Magical Mystery Cure.
Oh, right. That's what they're referring to. I was thinking of like, the Cutie Mark Chronicles for some reason.
Yeah. Cast the light spell at the spell to light the torch at the Equestria Games. Lied for, which led to Spike's arc, I guess. I don't think that's all that bad.
I don't like.
There's no way she let Starlight Glimmer spy on her. She just
that's what I was gonna say. Like, let her. Hey, we all saw it because we were looking at it from the outside looking in. She was like turned around every time we saw her. And come on, she saw her for like a minute in her freaking seminar. Like, I see pass people all the time, and I'll think for a minute, was that someone I recognize? And I'm like, nah, couldn't be, and move on with my life. You know how many stalkers I could have? Is it my fault? Are you victim blaming right now?
Let's see here. Tried to choose Starlight's friends for her. Now, that was... I guess...
Yeah, that one wasn't so great.
Yeah, ultimately no, but this one I can understand. Like, if you've got this person that's got a record of not making the best decisions, and this other person that's like... clearly other person that's clearly a bad influence and has a history of freaking criminal history... you might try to interject to a certain degree.
I would say you're absolutely right, because I feel like I've done this. I've been but here's the difference here. I've told you, like, some people, like, you're like, oh yeah, there's this person. I'm like, don't hang out with that person. They've done some pretty and verifiably bad things. The thing with Trixie, though, is that Trixie apologized for what she did. Twilight supposedly forgave her. They've moved on from that point, but now Twilight's bringing those prejudices back, despite it being water under a bridge and Trixie not doing a damn thing since.
Yeah.
And not repeating the behavior.
Sold the friendship journal from season 4. That was, again, this is all a bunch of stuff that Twilight had no way of knowing was going to go the way it was going to go. Like Cozy Glow. Nobody in universe knew Cozy Glow was going to be evil.
Yeah, like, that's just that's literally a child. Like, you might even look at that child and be like, oh, that's a bastard child. But you don't just, like, say, hey, you can't go to school here just because I'm pretty sure you're a bastard.
Yeah, like, Equestria does not...
Did we skip over starting selling their friendship journal? Like,
no, I started, but that was like another one of those things where it's like her intention there was to show other people the lessons that they learned. It wasn't even like she specifically said, oh, this was not supposed to be for marketing. It was supposed to be educational. It was supposed to help people.
And it did. We saw like 2 kids read from the book and did learn a valuable lesson. So I guess that's like, yeah, I think wasn't the lesson at the end of that episode ultimately like, hey, when you put yourself out there, you're going to get a lot of backlash. But what's important is you remember the people that you touch in a positive way and that you do help because of what you did.
Yeah, exactly. So this is all stuff that was unintentional and none of it was even bad. Excepting maybe this last one here, number 9, sabotage Pinky in trivia. Yeah,
I can't rewatch that episode. I can't.
I tried to watch it earlier, and it was just bad. Yeah, it was hard.
I don't remember what happened, and I don't want to, because I remember when I watched it, I hated it, and I didn't want to watch it anymore. I guess that's one episode that I hate that I forget to mention because I did my best to forget it.
Well, let's see here. Was Twilight Sparkle already taller than an average pony before she came in Alicorn?
Now, this is something you wouldn't have noticed, but I feel like you brought up to me, like, hey, yeah, Twilight got a little bit taller than everybody, but has anyone gone, like, side by side and gotten, like, the Twilight scale from Season 1 to Twilight scale of Season 9?
No, I'm pretty sure she did gradually get taller with each season after becoming an Alicorn. Until then, however, she was the same size as everybody else. Any time where she might appear shorter or taller is mostly due to perspective and angle that she's being animated at. Like if she's further up in frame, she's going to appear taller because she's closer to the front of the frame than everybody else. Or if she's turned a certain way, or if she's got, some kind of posture compared to other people, that's going to affect how we perceive her.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. I guess we'll look at the comments here real quick for a bit. Hard to tell if we're given the same model.
They were, because remember, like, at some point, every pony was just a recolor of the main six. Like, some of them even had the same hair.
Yeah. Now, I don't like this thread. Nobody really tried to prove it one way or the other.
Yeah, there's not a lot of comments on this one.
All right, moving on then. Which important lesson that was taught or learned by an MLP character? Oh, we started on
we
this
did
one.
This one.
Yeah. I believe we wanted to, like, go further down, or do we just want to skip it again?
Skip it, because I feel like we already talked about it, and I wasn't prepped to, like, talk about it.
So, let's see here. Community Soapbox. We got another one of these.
Community Soapbox. What?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
They just released theirs. When was this? A couple of days ago. All right. Let's see what we've got here. Was Sequestria destroyed?
Geez, hold up, honey. The text on here is different. I'm gonna have to do something because looking at it from your OBS, it's kind of blurry for me. I can't read it.
Try restarting the stream, or I'll try restarting the stream.
Yeah, I need to be that, or you're gonna have to zoom in for me more because I'm gonna have to squint at that.
Yeah, let me see here.
Yada yada.
Is this any better?
This is definitely better. Thank you so much. I prefer this.
Yeah, all right.
Go ahead.
I think I was recording a screen and not the window. Let's see here. We've seen a sea pony in Tell Your Tale, and even more in IDW's G5 comics. But there's been no sign of Sequestria. Might Opaline have stolen the magic of the sea ponies, effectively destroying Sequestria? That could have been a horrific tragedy. Sea ponies suddenly transforming back into hippogriffs while still deep undersea and drowning before they get... This is morbid. The frick? Surviving hippogriffs...
Yeah, you know how they like to make it dark.
Yeah. So, what do you think, Heather? Was Sequestria destroyed?
I would think Sequestria just isn't explored in G5, and I gotta say, I kind of stopped going into G5 because I got bored, but, so I don't know where they are with that, where the sea pony that was there turned up, but maybe Sequestria is just cut off because, the G5 characters don't know how to get there. Because Sequestria was kind of a sealed-off place in G4, as it was for a while. Yeah,
in fact, I remember Otaku Senpai from previous installations, I do believe. And I feel like I remember Otaku Senpai and having other morbid headcanons. So I'll have to try to remember that name.
I'll remember that interest. I mean, it's a familiar interest. We all have our thing, and we like our show or whatever, but then we ask ourselves, what would it be like if it was different in this way? And it'd be what if we introduce this dark concept or this apocalyptic situation? That's how we get Fallout Equestria and stuff like that. Let me read this one since you read the last one.
All right.
In defense of Spitfire by Fiona Lee. At first, I didn't like Spitfire's sudden change in personality when I watched the Wonderworld Academy episode for the first time, but as time went on in the recent past, past, I've gotten used to her current personality. Looking back in retrospect, with a name like Spitfire, of course she'll need a new personality that matches her name. To be fair, we didn't really even know anything about her before then. We, like, just knew her from, what, the freaking Gala episode, and she was just kind of, like, chill. Yeah, she's chill because she's at a party. She's going to be different at work. Speaking of her name, it's named after the iconic Supermarine Spitfire. Spitfire is also a term denoting a person with a fierce temper. The Supermarine Spitfire is critical in defeating the Luftwaffe air attacks during the Battle of Britain in 1940. More Spitfires were built than any other British combat aircraft before or since World War II, 20,341 in total. There are 6 Spitfires on the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. The British single-seat fighter aircraft used by the Royal Air Force and other allied countries before, during... Wait, what the fuck? My stream closed all of a sudden. What the hell? Okay. Well, anyways, the other countries being before, during, and after World War II. Well, there's your brief history on the Supermarine Spitfire. Back to Spitfire herself, all drill sergeant drill instructors tend to act like she does, except that she doesn't fling insults at her recruits and spew derogatory words in their faces just like the stereotypical drill sergeant drill instructors, probably because this show is not rated high enough for her to say slurs. That's my criticism with her. It's similar with Ratchet from the Ratchet & Clank series. He's been appointed as the Galactic Ranger Sergeant in Ratchet & Clank 3, and just like Spitfire, he doesn't insult the Galactic Ranger robot soldiers, let alone fire derogatory words and slurs in their direction and yell in the Galactic Ranger's robotic faces. I may not know all about military life, but research can go a long way. Dude, it is because the creators of this show are not going to let them do things like that. Like, I'm with you. Like, it kind of sucks they're not being that real about it, but these kinds of shows and content aren't going to be that real about it because it is for a younger audience and it's still supposed to be fun. And also, they probably don't want to show younger people that because they won't want to join the army because they're like, man, I don't want to go someplace, get trained by a drill sergeant and just have them call me freaking slurs and insult me all day.
Well, this is a show produced, written in Los Angeles, and it's produced in Canada. Nobody involved in the production here gives a frick about the army and whether or not they. Yeah,
like I hate to give meta examples of this, but like, so let's go with canon and I don't know much about Ratchet and Clank, so I couldn't speak for that. But canonically, we're in Equestria. This society is by default just a softer world than ours. Like, I don't even think they have slurs in Equestria. Like, I'm pretty sure she's giving them a hard time about being soft and not going hard enough. So, I mean, I think it's pretty on par. Equestria is very much a soft-boiled world. So let's continue with what they're saying. The reason Spitfire pushes her recruits in the Wonderbolt so hard, minus the swearing, slurs, insult, derogatory words, etc., and to their limits, because she wants them to be the best they can be and excel at what they do. If Spitfire didn't push them to their limits, her recruits wouldn't be prepared for what lies ahead in terms of challenges and whatever life throws at them. Not to mention, they wouldn't ace boot camp and become Wonderbolts. Despite how stern, strict, mean, and tough the drill sergeants, drill instructors can be, they are there to guide their soldiers in the right direction, tell them what needs to be done, and inform them if they are doing anything wrong, and so forth. However, just like all drill sergeants, drill instructors, Spitfire has a tendency to shout out her recruits and bark orders at them. Yes, that is the job of a drill instructor. I think we went over that. Drill sergeants sometimes sound different when in drill sergeant mode after their normal speaking voice, even when they are talking at a normal level. Spitfire was quite friendly in prior appearances, especially to Rainbow Dash, so why is Spitfire giving Rainbow Dash as well as the other recruits a hard time? Is her job. Well, first off, to test their resolve. Notice Spitfire's satisfied smile at Rainbow Dash's response to her insult as an indication of approval. Plus, Spitfire is a drill sergeant on duty. You can make friends in your own time, but when Spitfire's job includes weeding out the weak from the Wonderbolts, friends and the like get no special privileges. This is boot camp, you earn your wings. Yeah, so I guess we at the end come to an agreement. Yeah, that's what a drill sergeant does. They don't go as hard as you want for the meta reason of, like, this is a kid's show, or for the canonical reason of Equestria is just not that hardcore. I don't even think they have slurs.
They have slurs.
What? Can you remember one?
Well, every time Rainbow Dash used the word mule, she then turned to the mule in the room and said no offense.
You know, I could see frickin' Spitfire calling someone a mule. Also, like, apparently peeved is a word. She'd be like, man, these recruits sure are peeving me off, or something.
Well, that's not a slur, that's a curse.
Well, different. You know, like a curse. But yeah, like, the point is this person's being like, I don't know why it doesn't go hard and insult people and stuff. I'm like, because we can't put curse words or slurs in this show, bro.
Yeah. So, they don't have slurs in the same way that, like, we have slurs. But slur is in the intention. So you can, if it's meant to be derogatory at somebody because of some characteristic about them, then it's a slur, right? That's simple. So it always baffled me that there were people in the fandom that really didn't understand this about Spitfire. Like, this person is, said at the beginning here, she seemed nice, and then all of a sudden she wasn't, and I didn't like that. But then I realized it's because she's on duty, right? And when she's off duty, she's a different person. And there were a lot of people that didn't get that when these episodes were airing, and that always baffled me because it seemed like such an obvious thing. Like, you've never seen somebody need to be slightly different from one group to the next in your life.
Yeah, some people I heard complaining said they didn't like the change in the voice actor. Like, she had a different one that was, like, really smooth to begin with, as some people would describe, and then she turned to this one, which is just Diet Rainbow Dash voice, and I'm like, I can get that one, but whatever.
All right, moving on. Oh, God. Do you want me to read it? Do we even... Are you okay? Who remembers
it's double
this?
C, guys.
Who remembers double C? Do we even want to try to read it, is my question.
Well, let's look at the title here. Is opinions of both Rara Pierce and Combo. I don't know who that is. Oh, and I'd like to know.
Oh my God. Yeah, we're going to get into some poorly written fan fiction here.
No, I got this. Okay. Let me just burp a little bit. Okay. As a lot of you all know, it must be
Pokey Pierce, one of the background characters that just was there on screen for like 5 seconds in the whole show.
Hold on. Let me read it.
Yeah.
As a lot of you all know, I'm very interested in analyzing and give opinions on romance with the main and supportive characters of both Friendship is Magic and A New Generation. Make your mark, make your make, is what you said, and tell your tales.
Oh, God,
Most of it is either from the show, comics, novels, or fan opinions, and to see if the ship would be good or not. For this one, I would like to talk about 2 ships that caught my attention, which are Rarity and Royal Pin, and Izzy and Comet. If you've all been around in the early fandom, Royal Pin was shipped with Pinky, which was popular because Cheese Sandwich came along. I don't think that's right. I came across Rarity and Royal when watching Fuels of Love by Christina Keating on YouTube. At first, I was speculated, but she mentions that on Royal's blind bag card that stated he makes clothes for his friends. Cloths for his friends is what you said. I could see these two being a powerful fashion couple, which could help expand Rarity's fashion career. There would be ups and downs with fashion being a main focus, with both helping each other while also disagree on how each other's fashion should be. Royal defiantly deserves to be among the top potential husbands for Rarity and the fashion designer member of the Stallion 6. When Comet appeared, he is good addition to Tell Your Tales, while Make Your Mark was limited. When he and Izzy interacted, if is similar to how Pinky and Cheese interacted, with happy, energetic, and laughing moments. When Comet wanted to come to Maritime Bay, Izzy was so happy that they danced that they are friends, and some fans think it be more. Izzy's optimistic would help Comet overcome his nerves when trying new things out. Hopefully in future Tell Your Tales, we'll get some time between Izzy and Comet in many adventures that would lead to being a couple.
Every time this guy writes something, I lose brain cells.
Also, is that for... I know what pony we're talking about. He has a safety pin for a cutie mark, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought he was referring to. Pokey Pierce,
I'm going to look this up because, I remember it being Pokey Pierce. But, they change the names all the time. Hold on, Royal Pin, MLP.
I never saw this Royal Pin guy who apparently is a G5 character.
Yeah, I will say, I feel like I liked seeing Royal Pin, or I liked his name Pokey Pierce prior, because when they shipped him with Pinkie Pie, the idea was that, she's a balloon because of her cutie mark, and a pin would pop the balloons. And I liked the concept of, he'll pop her bubble, change her world. I do see a lot of Rarity fan art of him. I also see what looks like a freaking fan fiction. How could you fan fiction Royal Pin has had a long-lasting love for Pinkie Pie, but his love life comes to a tragic end when some pony new around the corner appears. Double C, the person who wrote this fan fiction is called Colored Clouds. Was that you? Because it's already written very questionably. Is this yours?
Yeah, Colored Clouds, that's 2 C's, or a double C, if you will.
So we've had a few fan theories at this point, guys. This guy's either canned cream or freaking Colored Clouds.
Jeez. All right. I don't even know where to go because he doesn't give me anything to work with. Half the time his sentence structure is so bad. The other time he's just dealing in such deep headcanon or, making up his own reality that it's like, okay, sure, I guess if you're right. Yeah. I told you to write your own fan fiction. Apparently you went ahead and did. Good on you. Get better. Keep trying. Stop writing on Equestria Daily where I have to see you. You are making my job difficult. Either that or give me $25 a month and I will frickin' teach you how to write. It is one of my Patreon perks, gosh darn it.
I'm already reading some of this and it is so written the way Double C writes.
Oh my god. Leave a comment and go, are you Double C on Equestria Daily's soapboxes?
Guys, if you tip me $20, I'll do a dramatic reading of this.
Oh no. $20? How many words is it, Heather?
Quite a few words, but it's only one chapter. There's like, I'm sure there's a word count somewhere in
here. Yeah, it would be on the front page of the film fiction.
Front page of it? Frickin', let me see.
Yeah, just like click on the link title. It's right there on the right side of the chapter.
3,070 words. Okay,
so that'll take you about 15 minutes to read through out loud. I suppose that's worth $20.
Give me $20. Yeah. Someone give me $20. I'll do it.
All right. Okay, we got another one by Fiona Lee. I'll take this one. From the perspective of a journalist.
You're a journalist?
We'll find out. Let's see here. I'm already aware of the Ponyville Confidential is a controversial episode. How so?
You're the worst journalist.
I've never heard somebody call Ponyville Confidential a controversial episode.
I just take the sentence structure.
I just assumed people might be interested in what I have to say as a journalist. Oh, okay.
Oh, no!
Good call, Heather. Countless years before I became a journalist. Oh, geez. On iFunny, they often say, if you think you hate journalists enough, you don't. I wonder if that statement is about to be proven correct for me. Let's see here. I didn't like the episode, countless years before I became a journalist, I didn't like the episode at first because it's mean-spirited, especially when Ponyville citizens were being extremely harsh and unforgiving towards the Cutie Mark Crusaders. Well, typical journalists
like that when you invade their privacy.
Yeah, typical journalists to not understand the concept of privacy and how people are going to react to it, especially in a small town when word gets around so quick like that. Not to mention, this is verbal abuse. They were little fillies, for Pete's sake. Sweetie Belle, Apple Bloom, and Scootaloo didn't know any better. Their brains are still developing, and they are still learning. Years later, when I became a journalist, I went back to watching the episode with a new lens or a new pair of eyes. It turns out the episode isn't as painful and unbearable to watch as I initially thought. However, it still undermines the integrity of journalism as a whole and paints it in a negative light. Despite the episode pointing out that the positive and negative sides of journalism, despite the Cutie Mark Crusaders didn't have a degree in journalism, oh my god, they're 5, they were somehow...
I'm surprised if you do.
Yeah, somehow talented enough to keep the students at Ponyville Schoolhouse and Ponyville engaged with the newspaper. Okay, first of all, right over your head, what's your name? Fiona? Right over your head.
Fiona.
It's not journalism, it's a tabloid. It's
also, it's the school paper.
Yeah. And if they, they find something funny that somebody did, and, they get Featherweight there to snap a picture of it, and they write a story about it, and they're like, I also find that funny, and then that's the story. Okay. Moving on here.
Yeah, I feel like Fiona isn't really in taking the lessons. I get it, but they were still too harsh on the Cutie Mark Crusaders. Look, we've gone over this. The age of them is questionable, but we've assumed 10 to 12. That's old enough to know right from wrong, to know that invading someone's privacy ain't cool, and there should be repercussions for that. I'm not saying it's unforgivable, and I'll give them a lot of freaking slack for being kids and just, kind of being peer pressured into doing it because of Diamond Tiara, that jerk.
Yeah.
But, they still you still gotta hold them somewhat responsible.
So let's, real quick, Little Pip says, how do I join the voice channels in your server? So, Little Pip, if you are the same Little Pip that's already in the Brony Debates call-in server, just raise your hand, or, say something in there so I can give you, right in there, tell me what you want to say and what you want to talk about. And if it's interesting, I'll give you permission to come on. Let's see here. As long as you, let's see here. Nathan, same thing. I don't know if you have the ability, but, that's all I ask is have a decent microphone and a decent internet connection. Moving on. On the other hand, I liked how the episode touches upon the ins and outs of the journalism industry and what goes on behind the scenes, such as editor-in-chief, strict tight deadlines, slow news, writer's block, what journalists must go through to get a story. The fact there are so-called journalists out there that goes against everything journalism stands for, lying by omission or not reporting on the truth. A lot goes into journalism and producing an article. My pet peeve is when certain video game journalists constantly write quote-unquote articles or hit pieces that are irrelevant to video games with the intention to push a quote-unquote message, propaganda, and shove their political ideals down the audience's throat. These are a bunch of baloney I don't want to read or listen to. This is what I call, quote, fake diversity. And their definition of diversity is unnatural. It's just diversity for the sake of it, just to tick a checkbox, a checklist. I feel like we're losing the plot here.
Yeah, I'm kind of I was with you for the first part of this. They talked a little bit about, how they had nothing to write about and what they had to do to get to a story. But then you start getting to, I hate it when video game articles go on about politics. I immediately was like, what the hell are we talking about
The whole
anymore?
back half of this paragraph had nothing to do with the point that you're trying to make.
Yeah, you kind of just went on a tangent, and a journalist should know that. I'm
not going to lie. I'm kicking myself for not choosing journalism university course years ago, and look where that got me. Yeah. Not so. Wait, didn't you say you were a journalist? How did you become a journalist?
Follow the sentence. I think they're explaining it.
Okay. Heck, I have yet to write for a newspaper or be a television news reporter. I'm just freelance. Okay. Yeah, I get that. A career is a verb and not your qualifications. You can certainly do journalism without having a journalist degree. Let's see here. So far, I've been freelancing as a journalist for 9 years. Okay, congratulations. Instead, I decided to study a 3D modeling and animation for games and media course. The reason why I picked...
Good for you.
Yep, that's vastly more contributing to society than journalism, really. The reason why I picked this course is because I love Craig McCracken's animation work since the 90s. This also has nothing to do with what you're trying to say.
What the fuck is going on right now?
My point still stands. If anyone wants to watch a wholesome episode about journalism that paints it in a positive light, go watch the Rainbow High Crest Quest, which is episode 4, season 2 of Rainbow High. To be honest, I found myself watching the Rainbow High Crest Quest episode more times than I watched Ponyville Confidential. Okay, what's your point?
Yeah, you were terrible at this.
This is the same person that couldn't understand.
Try harder with the animation.
This is the same person that couldn't understand that sometimes people need to switch gears between hanging out casually and being a drill instructor.
Yeah, Fiona Lee, like you might be second to Double C. Like at the very least from your writing,
no, let's not insult her like that. She's not that bad.
No. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like at the very least, I can read what you wrote, and I can clearly see English is your first language. My problem is that you go on tangents and you don't follow up on your points. I don't understand how you can be a journalist. I mean, you're freelance. But, like, I'm, like, astounded that, like, I should try journalism because I can write better than this. No offense, but stick to the animating.
Alrighty then. And that's all we've got for today. So, yeah, if anybody wants to come on, you've got about a minute to tell us your thoughts here. But anyway, Heather, what did you think of tonight's threads? Did anything in particular, any moments stick out to you?
You know, I like that I was inspired today to go back to fan fiction and maybe, like, catch up on some fan fictions I haven't read in a while. I'll have to find time for it, certainly, but, you know, it's nice. I remember, like, I don't remember what time in my life I was able to just, like, read so many fan fictions and favorite so many and just had the time to read. I miss having time to read.
Alrighty then. Nathan says he wants to talk about Gladmane and Arnold's. And then Arnold's he says, no, he's like, Brawny, I want to talk about Gladmane now.
Well, dude, come up with like something about him. Like, you know, we take suggestions for topics for Brony debates. So if you have a particular concept or idea of subject about Gladmane that you want to address, like, you know, just formulate that topic and send it in. Maybe we'll discuss it if we have people that have, like, a lot to say about it. Like, what do you even want to say about him?
And also, like I said, if you want to call in, there's a way to do that. Anyway, let's wrap this up. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and at 9:30, we're going to come back live and play some Pal World. Heather, I'm in the mood to do some tower raids tonight. You think we can handle it? Alrighty then. So, I hope you all enjoyed the show tonight. I hope to see you again in just a few minutes here. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. I hope you learned something, and thanks to everybody who supports monetarily, especially the $10 and up tier, is such as Heather, who's with me. There's also Shady Oak, Autoknight, Emerald Spencer, Senko, DJ, Rain, Billy, Alden, Kanto, Mr. Sonic, Alicia, Calbeck, StarChaser, VentureCorp, Willyzin, Icanus, Vulpecula, Raptor's Talon, Jimmy, J-Yoshi, and Dark Malcontent. You can check out all of their content in the description, as well as how you can support my channel and what you get in return. Until, 9:30, stay safe. If I don't see you at the next stream, God bless you. Have a wonderful night. Say good night, Heather.
Good night.